Melissa, the founder of True Northwest Magazine. Today we're here with Sarah Dylan Jensen, and she's been serving as the Farmers Market Director for Lake Stevens, Stanwood, and Snohomish for the past 10 years, and she also hosts the Market Maven podcast. Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do?
Sure. A little bit about me. I am born and raised in Alaska, and I really loved farmers markets there. You wouldn't think that they are a big deal there, but they started to be a big deal as I got into college, and I was really fascinated with them. And so when a position came available to manage the Snohomish Farmers Market, I kind of sort of jumped at it, even though I didn't know what I was doing. And here I am 10 years later.
Awesome. Awesome. So why don't you take us through a little bit of the history of how you jumped at that opportunity, and maybe some of your background info and what led you to that point with your skill set?
Sure. So my background is actually in fashion design and business. I have 2 degrees, and I worked in the industry for a long time in the fashion industry. And it just wasn't a place that I found joy in. It was a lot of stress. It was a lot of non-ethical behavior, and so that really bothered me. And I found myself in a kind of random corporate job, really wanting to do something else. And so started volunteering in the community of Snohomish and met somebody that was really connected with the community, connected with local farms, local businesses. And I decided to take a leap and create Mockingjay Press, which was my original small business 10 years ago. And I just started getting immersed in the community. I would go to the farmers market. I met some of the vendors. And then through networking, the Chamber of Commerce, I went to a meeting, and one of my friends / people that kind of helped grow with me said that the farmers market was looking for a new manager and I should apply. And I was like, I don't know the first thing about managing a farmers market. And she's like, but you could. And so I took a leap. I called them. I interviewed at Toto, Mexico on First Street, and they had me leave for like 5 minutes while they deliberated, and then they hired me, and then I just jumped into learning everything that I could about running this business.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of aspects that are the same as running a business, and there's a lot of aspects that are very, very different.
Totally. And you started with Snohomish, and then was it Stanwood and then Lake Stevens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know we've talked previously, and you said Lake Stevens just boomed right from the start because of everybody wanted it. The community was ready for it.
Yeah, the community really wanted Lake Stevens. I guess there had been a farmer's market there eons ago. I don't know anything about it, but we were heading into 2020. I submitted the, proposal. They did an RFP because they wanted to be fair in case anybody else had the same idea, and got awarded it. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So really it was very lucky for that community because we had all of the people that were at home. And so they needed something to do. Farmers markets were essential businesses. And so we were able to just hit the ground running. Now that I will say that one is now the most difficult to kind of keep that momentum up.
Gotcha.
But,
okay, you're just in the right place at the right time, but
yes.
Awesome. Cool. And then 10 years later, so you've probably learned an absolute ton over this time and worked with so many different creators, farmers, crafters. Do you have any key learnings or nuggets of advice that you could pass along after 10 years of working with so many different types of business owners and creators?
Yes, I have many. That's why I started a podcast.
Yes.
I think one of the big ones is patience. There are, at any given time on the rosters that I have between the 3, we've got upwards of 500 different individual businesses. So each one of those, they're the business owner. They are caring about that business just like we care about our businesses. And so it's a very emotional thing. So I'd say patience just in understanding that they're all going through different phases and different things, and their expectations are different too, especially the ones that do many different farmers markets. The rules are all different. There is no consistency in rules around markets and even street fairs. So what one may do, another one may not, and kind of managing those expectations with patience. Another one I would say is just highly organized people, I think, succeed better overall as a manager, as a vendor. It's just the organization and streamlining processes. That's what I can do for my vendors to make it easier on them to just have to kind of show up and do their part.
Sure. And have you always been good with patience and organization, or is that something you've really developed over the last 10 years?
I would say it's developed.
Yeah.
I wasn't always patient, but I also wasn't always somebody that would stand up for myself.
Sure.
So I think those two have kind of melded into this wonderful space now that allow me to set boundaries, but also allow me to be empathetic to people as well.
Sure.
The Type A organization was there my entire life.
Totally. And I assume, like, being the director, you're the singular person that people are going to for all their questions and
Yes.
everything that they need. So,
Yes.
Patience would be important there.
Customers too. So
Totally.
they're coming, through the back end, either email or through the Facebook page, and kind of expecting those responses even day of the market. Like, do you have blueberries today? And I'm like, this isn't Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm also not checking my phone 100% of the time.
Totally.
But yes, it's 100% me for all of those questions.
Wow. You have to wear a lot of hats.
I do.
Yes. So what are some things you do outside of being a farmer's market director to kind of help keep that balance and help develop those skills of patience and things like that?
I do enjoy some of the exterior, not market day things, like, networking, going to the chamber meetings, being part of BLOS, where I can share about myself, but I'm not necessarily there to try and sell a farmer's market. I am fortunate in that I'm not trying to grow my business in that way.
Cool, yeah.
The podcast kind of was created after meeting with a business coach, and that same question, what are you doing for kind of a creative outlet? And my creativity was just tapped. I mean, I have an art degree and I want to sit down and do art, but it's just tapped all the time. So the podcast was a way to tell the stories, the things that I couldn't necessarily do on social media all the time and expect people to read it. It kind of just goes into the void. And that's truly what I thought my podcast would be. It would just be an outlet for me, but it's turned into so much more, and having people understand what it means, like where the passion comes from.
Right.
And then extracurricular, I have a vintage Shasta Airflight camper that I just got this spring. And
Fun.
so I took her out. Her name's Tallulah.
I love it.
I took her out a few times to learn how badass I am in real life, and can I start a fire and get my propane going and all that.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Can I tow a trailer? I didn't know until I bought it.
That's something I'm not confident about at all.
Still super not confident, and getting out of Lake Stevens like 75 roundabouts later, I made it.
Exactly.
So I survived. And then kayaking. I love to be on the water.
Cool. Awesome. Kayaking's fun. I've also, this last summer, I tried paddleboarding for the first time. That's super fun too.
Yep.
I love it, just like a lazy river day or something. Yep. So you were just crowned the BLOS Boss of 2023. And I know you just mentioned them. So why don't you take us through kind of what that experience has been like for you? How are you feeling after getting that or winning that nomination? And then kind of what BLOS how it's supported you.
Yeah, so I found BLOS randomly through Facebook scrolling, and I don't know how I even came across it, but they were having this Christmas party. It was kind of their first year. I was looking for something because I was leaving another networking group that wasn't serving me anymore, and there were no tickets left, so I was like, oh, well, that's the universe. And then sure enough, I saw it like a day later and there was a ticket, and I didn't know anybody in this group. And so I bought the ticket. I was like, this is the universe circling back at me like, no, you are supposed to go here. I went there, walked into this room of people, 70 women that I had never met. And I was so intimidated. 6 years into my business, I'm so intimidated, and it felt really weird. But they welcomed me with open arms. And then when they heard that I was the person that did the farmers markets, they were like, oh my gosh. And so I felt like I had this place, and I still was really like unsure about it, but I just kept going and going to the events. I just figured if I keep showing up as me and they don't like me, then I know this isn't the place for me. But I kept showing up as me, like weird, nerdy, like kind of Amazonian type thing.
I love it.
More natural, quirky dresser, that type of a thing. And I just found some amazing friendships and businesses that I wanted to support. And Jessica, I mean, she just runs an amazing, amazing show.
Totally.
Then I got pulled into their kind of pulling it into a business and asked if I wanted to participate. And I was like, well, yeah, if I financially can, I should, because this is a place I want other people to feel this way.
Sure.
So this year has been that year that I fully committed to everything possible as far as event-wise, prioritizing myself, prioritizing taking a market day off and having somebody fill in for me so that I could make these events. I went on the retreat. It's all just been quite magical. And then I found out I was nominated for the award, and I was like, that's enough. That is amazing. Yay. And then I was the top 10, and then I was the top 3, and then I'm standing there at the holiday party and fully not expecting to win. I mean, I was up there with 2 absolutely incredible women, and then she called my name, and as you saw, I immediately started sobbing. Yes. And then she put the crown on me, and then just like that high was for days and days and days.
Oh, yeah.
Like still is. Like it's still sitting on my desk that I put on for random Zoom meetings because why not?
Totally. Yeah, I was so excited to be able to be there to see that moment, and it's so well deserved. Like,
thank you.
You pour into the community just from the short time I've known you now, just really seeing all the ways that you contribute and help advocate and support people and their businesses and just what they're doing. It's very well deserved. So
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yes, absolutely. And as someone, I've never been the first to jump at these networking groups and everything, but I will say that BLOS, I hear a very similar testimony from almost every member that I've met so far. So I think that really does say a lot about that specific group and the cool thing that they have going on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I love that. So what are some ways that you've grown professionally or personally, just with your experience working so closely in your community?
There's, those questions where somebody's like, what are your weaknesses?
Sure.
There have been many times in the 10 years where I just wanted to do it all. Like if I can't do it, nobody's going to do it as good as I'm going to do it. And I've really had to let go of understanding that while somebody might come in and not do it the exact way I would, or maybe to the level that I would,
right,
I have to delegate, because now owning 3, it's like, I mean, that's why I had the nickname Mother of Markets from Game of Thrones, because it was like having 3 baby dragons all at one time,
right,
and the needs and the demands and all that. And so I've learned to delegate a little bit more. I've learned to let go of certain things a little bit more that allow me to free up time for prioritizing BLOS, which is still the business, prioritizing the podcast, those types of things.
Right.
And then also just not always reacting in fight.
Yes.
I've done a lot of fight and flight, especially with market footprints and dealing with different administrations that have been difficult.
Yeah, I imagine you have to have some tough skin for some of these things.
Yeah. And then also just being that visible in front of a lot of people, like I've changed, my body has changed, I've just changed in general. So moving away from external appearances and just trying to kind of keep that level of calm and peace versus always getting kind of fighty.
Sure. I love that. I think that's such a good point, is having started the magazine, never really anticipating like being a public figure of any sort where people know you and you're in front of, you're the face of the business. That's been something I've had to work through this year. My first year of business is, people seeing me and showing up as my authentic self, so people see who I really am. So I'm not don't have that feeling like I'm playing a part, because I think that might work for a few people in the start, but it ends up not working out in the long run because you've created this whole image that really isn't you.
Yes.
And so you lose that fulfillment, I think.
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
When I started, I'd say probably about 4 to 5 years, and it was exhausting.
Yeah.
And then you hit essentially a burnout, or you get to a point where that's not going to save the business. 2020 was a great example. I could look as cute as I wanted, I could fight as hard as I wanted, but the world was shutting down.
Right.
So what am I going to do about it?
Totally. And that's such a good point, because I think for so many people, business owners and then just individuals, had to take a step back and reevaluate, how am I putting forth, or where am I putting forth effort in my life, and are those actually important? Does it matter if I look perfect and have a cute outfit if my character doesn't back it up, or how I'm running my business isn't, doesn't have that integrity that I want it to, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's cool. And then something I want to know is we're headed into 2024. It's December 27th. I don't know when exactly this will
it's
air.
The magical week that doesn't exist in time and space.
Exactly. So what are some future goals? I'm sure you've had some time to reflect in your off season now. So as you look towards 2024, like, what do you see?
I hopefully see just like calm surrounding the markets.
Mm-hmm.
We've had so many upheavals over the last few years, like moving locations and fighting with different administrations. Like, I would just love to see what a normal year looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Just no hiccups thrown our way. I don't think that's going to entirely happen with all three of them, but
sure.
A girl can hope.
We can manifest.
And then as far as like the podcast, I want to keep going. I want to kind of elevate that. Looking around at all the video equipment here, like, it's interesting. Totally. I don't know if it's necessarily something I'm going to dive into this year, but maybe having higher level interviews, or even just getting on different shows to help promote it.
Totally.
I feel like I was very successful this year, and that's not to like toot my own horn. I just never thought I'd have 36 episodes or whatever it is.
Totally.
And
that's
how many downloads. So like, that's exciting.
Totally.
And then really embracing the Bloss Boss Award and making sure that other women are coming into that group and feeling how I felt 2 years ago, because I want, I want that for everybody.
Totally. I love that. And it plays to such desire and longing from all of us of like wanting to belong somewhere. Like, we all want to belong. So it's really cool that you found that group of people that makes you feel that way, and you can just show up as yourself. So I hope everyone feels that way too.
Thank you.
Of course. And then to wrap up our chat today, how can people get in touch with you?
I have yourmarketmaven.com, which you can listen to the podcast there. You can go on to Spotify or any of the streaming platforms. And then I'm on Instagram as yourmarketmaven. And that's mostly business, but also, I mean, I'm just trying to be authentically me. So you're going to get some dog pictures in there sometimes. Yes. You're going to get adventures that I go on. And then, you can find me at any of the farmers markets. All of them are just the respective name, SnohomishFarmersMarket.org, LakeStevensFarmersMarket.org, and StanwoodFarmersMarket.org. Awesome. And then the phone number on there is me.
Awesome.
Whether I like it or not most days.
Yes. Well, hopefully some people will come up to you at markets next season after seeing this interview and get to know you a little bit better, because we have loved getting to know you. It's been such a pleasure to, now I've been on your podcast. We had you in this latest issue of the magazine, and it's been so much fun creating and collaborating with you. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for all that you're doing to bring these stories to the community. Having received that first magazine, or the one that I was in, obviously, because I had to send it to my parents for Christmas.
Of course.
But just seeing the quality, and it feels really like a lovely magazine that you can read, like the one that you would want to pick up and take on a trip with you and share it with people, versus just ad after ad after ad.
Yes.
So thank you for doing that for our community.
Yes, that means so much to hear, and that's exactly what I wanted. So thank you so much. Appreciate you.